What does all this mean for us moving forward?
Right, yeah, sort of the tale of the two chambers right here. First, in the House, the Democrats have taken control. In the Senate, it's the other direction. The Senate has gained, the Republicans have gained at least one seat, and we're still waiting on those three races. But really, like you were saying, we want to focus not on the results, but on what this means for us, because at this point, you've seen the results. So let's go into some of the most important factors from all this. The biggest change is House leadership. Nancy Pelosi, a boogeyman of sorts for the GOP, will once again be the House Speaker. Her message last night was one of oversight over President Trump.
Today is more than about Democrats and Republicans. It's about restoring the Constitution's checks and balances to the Trump administration.
And Democrat control in the House can be a big problem for the president. Representative Richard Neal from Massachusetts will likely chair the House Ways and Means Committee, which can look into the president's tax returns. Then there's Representative Adam Schiff, who will likely chair the House Intelligence Committee. This committee can reopen the probe into Russian collusion. In an op-ed on Friday, Schiff wrote that the GOP-run committee was, quote, complicit in the president's most egregious attacks on our democratic institutions. Meanwhile, we can expect some big changes in the Senate as well. The Republicans have ousted Democrats Heidi Heitkamp of North Dakota, Joe Donnelly from Indiana, and Claire McCaskill from Missouri. This growing majority means two big things. First, it weakens the role of moderate Republicans like Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski. They proved key swing votes in legislation last session. Second, this nearly guarantees that the GOP will continue to shape the federal courts, placing more and more conservative judges. A concern for Democrats, considering the ages of Justice Ginsburg and Justice Breyer at 85 and 80 years old. Meanwhile, some looking at this as a preview for 2020, wasting no time to look ahead to the next election. It really did show this sort of big gap that we have in this country, this cultural divide between the more liberal, diverse voters in the cities and the suburbs surrounding them, and then, of course, the more conservative, mostly white voters in some of the rural areas in the Trump country. So really, if anything, this shows that it's going to be a very partisan race, but don't worry, we've got 2 years to get ready for that. I'll send it back to you guys. Well, there are a number of things that we should expect, and it mostly has to do with the leadership. Of course, the Democrats took control of the House. They did not take control of the Senate. In fact, the Republicans gained more seats in the Senate. They now have 52 seats, and we're still waiting on 3 other races, so it could be even more than that. But as far as the impacts for us, I want to focus on just a couple things. All right, so those are the impacts of the Democrats winning the House. In about 30 minutes, I'm going to break down what the Republicans expanding in the Senate will mean for us as well. So that's going to be in about 30 minutes. Join us for then. Meanwhile, a lot of people looking at this as a preview of 2020. It really did illustrate this big divide that we have, a mostly liberal population in the cities and in the suburbs surrounding them, and then a more conservative group out in the more rural areas. So really just a big divide that we can expect in 2020. Reese, send it back to you. It really is a big deal on the Senate side. You know, a lot of attention is going to the House and the Democrats taking over, and that has important impacts in the sense that they could block some of the president's agenda, and with these leadership roles, they could open up new investigations into the president. But it can't be understated how important it is that the Republicans are not only keeping the Senate majority, but expanding on it. Here are some of the important impacts. Meanwhile, many people will also look at the results here as a preview for 2020. It really illustrated a divide that seems to be growing here in the country, where we have a more liberal population in the cities and the suburbs around them. That's an important part, the suburbs. Meanwhile, in the more rural areas, you're going to find a lot more of the conservative voters here. So already we're looking ahead to 2020. Reese, send it back to you.